Welcome to this video in my Kofax transformation series. My name is Jesper Scherpenhuizen and today I want to talk about NLP, natural language processing, and more specifically I want to show you how you can use the new NLP locators in your transformation projects. So in my demo I'm going to be using Kofax Total Agility 7.8. But all the things I'm going to show you today can also be done in any of the other transformation enabled products within the Kofax stack. So whether you're using Total Agility, Kofax Capture with Kofax transformation modules, or Kofax RPA with document transformation services, you can use these locators. So before we start, make sure that you have the language packs installed for the languages that you want to do NLP on. There are three packs. Make sure you have the right ones installed. So let's open up the Transformation Designer, and I've got an empty project here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a class. And now you'll see why it's important to do that at the very first, as one of the very first things that you do, because on the class level you have to configure the language that you want to, well, NLP, so to say. So we have an option for Dutch, English, French, German, Italian, Japanese, Korean, Mandarin, Chinese, Portuguese, Romanian, and Spanish. And this is of course very nice if you combine this with a transformation project that does language detection first. So like the one that's always shipped with all the transformation products, and first determine what the language is and then apply NLP on that language. That's what I've used for my bat press research demo that's also on my channel. And just tick the box for extract named entities. More on that later. So let's call the class English. There you go. And let's start adding some locators. The first locator I want to talk about is the sentiment locator. So let's open up a set of documents. So these are just some news articles I've downloaded, because you need to make sure that NLP only works when you're working on natural language. So it won't work on structured forms or key value pairs. No, natural language, that's what you need. So sentiment locator, let's talk a bit more about that. If you test that, it's going to analyze the complete text for the overall document, and it's going to return a numerical value, and it'll always be between -1 and +1. -1 extremely negative, +1 extremely positive, 0 neutral. So in this case we have a score of 0.016, so that's very neutral, leaning towards the positive side, but that's it. So then let's quickly rename the locator. I like to use the _NLP prefix to make sure that we always understand what sort of a locator it is. And let's create a new field real quickly. Call that sentiment. Oh, I need to learn how to type apparently. Sentiment, and connect that to the new locator we found. Pretty straightforward. Then let's add another locator, and in this case I'm going to select the named entity locator. So what this locator is going to do for us, it's going to find all named entities. So that could be all people that it's found in the document, all places, all companies. The list goes on and on. I can actually show you the list right here, because you can also filter per entity type. So here you have the full thing. That's a lot of that's a lot of types that you can find there. And what this named entity locator actually also does, it's able to give you, okay, what's the actual text that's been found? What's the type? Is it the person? Is it the location? You name it. It will always give you the confidence, but what it will also do, it's going to give you the sentiment towards that entity. So even though you might have a very positive document, but the entity you're interested in has been talked about very negatively, then you'll be able to find that. So even though the document itself was positive, but your entity you're interested in was very negative. But as you can see, what we need to do is we need to create a table model. So it has the text, confidence, entity type, and sentiment. So let's build that real quickly from scratch. So I'm just going to add text. I'm going to add confidence. I'm going to add the actual type. And I'm going to add the sentiment. There you have it. Create a table model. Call that entity, or anything you might want to call that. And select the fields or the rows that you want in there. There you have it. So now select that and just connect these to your table. And you can then do, as I said, you can filter per entity type or on the confidence thresholds, depending on your use case, of course. Play around with that. You can also filter per sentiment. If you're only interested in the entities that have been, well, discussed in a negative way, you can do that. So let's give that a try. And you start to see all of those entities also being highlighted in the document, of course. So apparently in this, well, in this document, Hillary Clinton was described very negatively, whereas Bill was, well, neutral, positively. You might want to do that. There you have it. So that's always nice to look at these sort of documents there as well. And as you know, once you've got a table, you also need to add a table to the actual fields you want to use and connect that to the new locator that we, of course, should have named a proper one. NLP underscore named entity locator nel. And then we have this and a nel and call this the entities. There you have it. So those were the locators that we released with the very first version of NLP within Kofax Transformation, and with the release of Total Agility 7.8 and the other products, of course, we have introduced new locators there as well. So the first is actually the summarization locator, which will do, well, exactly what it tells you. It's going to summarize the overall document and pass that back to you. So we have some configuration options, default and alternative methods. You can do some regions there, and you can then immediately test it. And it's going to give you a, in this case, 3-line summary of the document. Very powerful, especially in content analysis. So let's do that. NLP underscore sum. Create a new field. Summary. Connect the locator. There you have it. And then the fourth locator that we can now use is the themes. So that's going to give you the overall themes that are being discussed in a document. So we can drop down, go through the themes locator, and what you'll see is that, like with the named entity extraction, you need to define a table model which has text, confidence, theme type, and sentiment. So we can reuse the columns that we've defined for the named entity, but let's just create a new table model called theme. There you go, and just add all of these to that table model. Save that, select it, theme, text, confidence, type, and sentiment. And let's give that a test, shall we? Again, it's going to tell you all of the things that it's been able to find: fictional memoir, present day, also how those have been discussed in this document. So that's fairly nice. And as said, for this we also need to create a new table in the field section with the theme, and it's the new locator, which let's call that NLP them. There you go. So once we have these, we can then apply these to all of the documents that we have. So for the first one, let's extract all of that. There you go. And we can see that it's been able to find the sentiment that we had, the summary, and of course also the new fields there. So as said, well, quite easy to use them, and make sure that you can also use all of these in your scripting as well. So if you want to think about very complex applications of NLP, you can do that today. And if you would then have a look at another one, let's extract a document talking about Donald Trump. Extracting. Yeah, we can ignore that error for right now. And you'll find that the overall sentiment was minus 0.11. The entities that it found was, of course, let's see, Donald Trump, very negatively. The president, very negatively. In this case, Al Sharpton, negatively. And the only one, Jim Mattis, comes out quite positively. Same thing is true for the themes. So you have themes like general theme, that's a meta theme that we have there that you can actually recognize from the type 1, and military offices, American streets, a lot of nice themes there. Just scroll down. So what we've seen today is how you can set up these new locators in Kofax transformation, how easy it is to then connect them to either fields or tables, what the configuration options are, and with this you can actually, well, build your own projects leveraging these new capabilities. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly through email, LinkedIn, you name it. Of course, as always, I will always ask people to like, subscribe, or comment anyway. But yeah, that's up to you. Again, hope you enjoyed this. Hope you learned something. Take care. See you next time. Bye-bye.